Now that Robert Downey Jr. has officially moved on from his role as Iron Man, can you guess what project the beloved actor is taking on? 2 words: Sweet Tooth. Thanks to RDJ and his wife Susan Downey's roles as executive producers, Sweet Tooth takes viewers on a journey through some pretty magical plot lines. From CGI, to practical effects, to costuming and more, let's take a look at all the factors that make Sweet Tooth as fantastical as it is.
Bobby.
If you haven't already heard about all the buzz surrounding Sweet Tooth, we're here to fill you in on exactly why this show is blowing up. The premise of the series is that a global pandemic hit the world and resulted in hybrids, which are a cross between human and animal. Gus, the main character of the series, is one of these hybrids, a cross between deer and human.
I never saw a deer, kid.
Sweet Tooth, as a series, tells the story of Gus as he travels from the safety of his home to the catastrophe-ridden outside world.
People out there hunt kids like you. Don't make it easy for them.
As we all know, CGI dominates most of the special effects that we see on television today. It's no surprise that Sweet Tooth uses some CGI in its special effects, but it's a huge surprise that the majority of the effects seen in this new series are actually what we call practical effects. This means that the effects are not computer generated and are instead happening in real time.
Why do you have shiny boxes?
Never seen a computer.
Sweet Tooth notably uses puppetry in its most notable effect, which is the manipulation of Gus's antlers throughout the show. The ears were totally controlled by puppeteer Grant Lehman, who had to track actor Christian Convery's every facial expression and movement in order to manipulate them. Lehman couldn't just watch Convery on screen while controlling his movements because of a 300 millisecond delay, meaning the puppeteer had to physically follow around the young actor. This intense process definitely paid off, as Gus's character really came to life with the movement of his antlers and ears.
Someone thinks I'm a hybrid, I start talking. I never ever move my ears.
How does this mechanism work, you might ask? Jim Mickle, one of the show's creators, commented, "So Christian Convery basically has a little helmet, which is hair, and it sits on top. The antlers click in. They're amazing. They're really light. They click in with magnets. Then he's got these ears that will sit over the top of his ears, and little cables that run down his back. And he has these little motors that are strapped to his back the whole time that are hidden. Then there's a puppeteer that operates on him remotely. They can do all sorts of shapes and reactions and speeds. Sounds complicated to me, but it turned out to be so worth it."
There are no kids like me. I'm the only one left.
That's what he told you.
Gus was not the only hybrid brought to life through puppetry in this series. In fact, puppetry played a pretty significant role in bringing the idea of hybrids to life overall. Interestingly enough, all of the baby hybrids featured in episode 1 were real puppets. Even more impressively, the character Bobby was a real-life puppet who was controlled through multiple talented puppeteers and a harness system. Talk about some intense teamwork. The rest of the children within the series who were also cast as hybrids were brought to life using intense makeup prosthetics, which highlighted very specific animalistic features for each of the young actors.
Last I checked, you were part animal too, you know.
Makeup artist Stephen Knight and his team were able to bring these half-human creatures to life using this method. Everyone knows that the casting process in Hollywood can be pretty cutthroat. For actor Christian Convery, who plays Gus, the audition process seemed to run pretty smoothly as the young actor made it through callbacks and landed the role with little stress.
He's bigger than you.
They don't make him bigger than me.
Actor Nonso Anozie had a bit of a harder time in the casting process though, claiming he had to fight a bit more for the role as many people loved the role of Tommy Jeopard and also wanted a shot at playing him.
They bought what I was selling and here I am playing Tommy Jeopard today.
The young actor immediately began studying the mannerisms of deer once he landed the part in order to best prepare for the role.
Researched how deer move and react.
This level of acting for such a young actor is super impressive and really noteworthy. Convery is only 11 years old. Not only did the child star work to perfect his animal-like acting performance, but he also took parkour lessons to best learn safe ways to move about like an animal too.
Because deers have to run and jump really fast all the time.
This level of dedication to the acting game is seriously something magical if you ask me. Anozie didn't have to take part in any parkour training, but had to take fight lessons instead, as his big fight scene of the first episode required him to have some professional training.
So that was pretty tough.
Now, you might be asking yourself, how did the production team go about handling the fact that this series is set in the midst of a pandemic? Did they take notes from the COVID outbreak that's sweeping the globe to get their pandemic information down pat? The answer is, surprisingly, no. The pilot of this series was filmed in May and June of 2019, before the pandemic truly took a foothold globally.
Before the great crumble.
So what did the production team do to make their fictional pandemic as accurate as they could? Instead, the team studied previous outbreaks of the bird flu and SARS to get their information as close to reality as possible. All of our science tracked when the real pandemic started, said Jim Mickle, one of the show's creators and showrunners. Not only was the way in which the team tackled the portrayal of the pandemic really fantastic, but so was their fortunate decision to shoot on location in New Zealand. New Zealand is a country known for its intense and startling natural beauty, pretty much making the use of CGI or any other digital enhancements pointless.
Valley of Sorrows.
It looks pretty happy to me.
Not only did this make New Zealand the perfect setting for the fantastical series, but the way the nation was affected by COVID also helped. With little to no shutdown, the production process that took place in 2020 was able to keep on rolling. As Anozie stated, "When we found out that New Zealand was one of the countries that had got their act together the quickest, and we'd be able to shoot there, that was a very great thing." From amazing casting efforts to great scientific research and even lucky location scouting, it seems that the production process behind the scenes of Sweet Tooth was truly impressive, which can be clearly seen in the final product of the series. As you probably already know, the team behind the scenes of Sweet Tooth was also a major reason for the series' newfound success. With Robert Downey Jr. and his wife Susan Downey at the helm of the production team, there was really no doubt that this series was going to be a hit.
We like a challenge, and an adventure, and this was both.
The couple decided to create a much more family-friendly version of this original graphic novel, leaving out a bit of the gritty darkness of the series in place of some hope. As Susan Downey stated, the ambition was to create it for a family audience. We wanted the whole family to be able to watch together. RDJ went on to say that the comics had this scope and emotional breadth of storytelling, and the characters were just so engaging. We wanted to make a great co-viewing experience for parents and kids.
Just think of the possibility.
Sure enough, the power couple definitely met their goal. Now, there's no way to talk about Sweet Tooth and its adaptation into a television series without acknowledging what the original author has to say about it. Thankfully, author of the Sweet Tooth graphic novel series, Jeff Lemire, has nothing bad to say. In fact, when asked about what it was like to see his comic come to life, the author said, "It's pretty magical. It was really interesting to see which aspects of the world Jim and the team latched onto, and how they leaned into the hopefulness of the story and Gus's innocence."
And kind of bringing something new to it. It's been interesting.
As we can see from our behind-the-scenes look at Sweet Tooth, it was really a bunch of different factors that led the series to be the greatness that it is. From casting choices to puppetry and prosthetics, the impressiveness of the production process is clear everywhere. Next time you're watching Sweet Tooth, keep all this exclusive information in mind. It will make you appreciate the series even more.